welcome to another episode of House of Decline. We've been doing a lot of solo episodes recently, but we've come back with a guest. And what a guest! Posting legend. You know her as Juniper, but she's June. You also know her podcast, Western Kabuki, a wonderful podcast about the excesses and dregs of the internet and how we perform. It's Juniper, a.k.a. June. Well, mostly known as June. How are you doing, June?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I am just fancy. It's been a harrowing week for me because I was very sad about Johnny Hardwick dying. I was like, out of the recent spate of celebrity deaths, that's the one that got to me the most. And I did a big weepy post about it.
Yeah, they're all dying so suddenly now. It's a shame. Yeah. Celebrities didn't die like this back in the day.
No, we didn't. No. We never had celebrities live forever back in the day. You know, once you had a celebrity around, you know, you felt comfortable knowing that you would die before Sheena Easton. You know, I need to know that Sheena Easton has outlived me, or else, you know, I won't be satisfied.
I know. It's so sad that death was invented like 3 years ago when the jab, the godforsaken jab.
Before that, no one died before that.
No.
Yeah, it was a whole. That's, you know,
everyone lived biblical lengths of lives. You know, everyone was just like Noah. 3,000 years old or whatever. Yeah, they were constantly begetting people and then dooming their sons for witnessing them naked.
It's a weird story. People forget about the after part of that story. But
I grew up Catholic and I don't even know if I know that story. They don't tell us that shit.
The end of Noah, the other part of the Noah story that people forget is I don't know if he invents wine, but I think he might be credited for also inventing alcohol. And at one point in his tent, after the storm happens, he gets drunk and starts carousing around naked. And then his son Ham, sees his father naked, and then he is banished. And some racist interpretations of Christianity say that's where Hamites or black people come from. And Shem covers up his father's nudity, and that's where Semites come from. That's where the people of Israel come from, is because Shem was not banished because he didn't see his father's drunk penis. And as for Japheth, who knows about Japheth? You know,
they should really be teaching this in like second grade. You know, like this should be religious studies. People should know about this, about his drunken penis.
Yeah, see, no one wants to see their dad's dick. That's like the Bible is covering these essential stories. What happens if you see your dad's dick? You're banished. It's over for you. I didn't know you were raised Catholic. That's interesting.
I was, yeah. My parents were they were like the type of parents that were like, you know, we want like the best for our kids, you know. I feel like there was like this lie in America. I don't know if it's still kind of a thing because I'm older now and I don't really know people that have kids, but like a very like mindset of this time, at least in America, in the Midwest, it was like, like private schools, Catholic schools, you know, these type of institutions were always better. So they thought like, if private schools are better, we have to like raise our kids Catholic because that means you know, these are the smart kids.
That's all fucked these private school people. That's fucked up. Yeah.
So I grew up Catholic, but like we didn't really like ever go to church. I just kind of like got some of those teachings, you know, like I went to church a little bit like as a kid, but like it was very clearly just like very performative on my parents' end. But it was enough to kind of get that like early religious trauma and kind of like make me go through that early like 2010s or 2000s 2010s like edgy atheist phase, you know, like that like every Catholic kind of has.
Oh yeah, well, especially coming up in a child, it's the Bush years. During that time you would have been very young when that was happening, but still enough to like register, fuck religion because, you know, it's causing 1 million people to die right now. I mean, they were ultimately correct in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, corollary to that is like atheism was also marshaled by people like Bill Maher and Christopher Hitchens in order to kill 1 million people, which is why I think we backed off on the atheism a little. It's coming back though, I've noticed. Like people are getting like, should we do atheism again? Is it happening again?
It does seem like it, but also like it's crazy because like people like what's his name, Richard Dawkins have come back into the limelight, but now their whole thing is being transphobic again. course. It's like that's like all of the like new atheist type people in like the early 2010s, like that era, like new atheist, they're all either dead, like Christopher Hitchens, or they're engaging in like the homophobic type shit, which is
the huge freaks like Sam Harris as well. I always forget the fourth guy who was in that atheist crew. There was a fourth guy. He was
I forget his name, but he was just like some magician. Like he was like, if I remember correctly, he was just like a magic dude that would like challenge religious people to like some challenges. I forget exactly.
That's James Randi. I think that's James Randi. I don't know if he was the fourth guy, but he was also part of that whole and Penn and Teller as well. When I was, because I watched Penn and Teller's bullshit as a young impressionable teenager, and I was tricked into libertarianism by magicians.
They had some good shit. Honestly, there were some good segments.
Did. Yeah,
but that is really funny that like part of the new atheist wave was led by magicians.
Yeah, these goddamn magicians. I mean, it's always been. I mean, Houdini was a rationalist and a skeptic. They've always had that sort of thing. Houdini's big thing was debunking people.
Yeah, because, I mean, it makes sense. That's kind of their whole deal is I mean, not that their stunts necessarily disprove things, but I think to get to that point where they want to do stuff like that, they're fascinated by like maybe decoding these tricks and trying to deceive people. So I guess it's kind of a very similar mindset.
Yeah, there is sort of a meta, almost Brechtian aspect to it, where because they're alerting you to the artifice of their theatrical performance, it creates some sort of amusement or some sort of, as Brecht performance would call it, Verfremdungseffekt, or alienating effect, which is sort of part of the Penn and Teller humor. I like them a lot, especially previously on the podcast I extolled the virtues of their video game Desert Bus, which I think is a very funny conceptual video game. Have you heard of Desert Bus?
I have not. I was just going to ask what the hell Desert Bus is.
It's about, you do the 6-hour drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and you have to keep pressing left on the wheel or else you will crash every 3 seconds, and it's just the desert. And it's just empty. It's
like Truck Simulator, but like worse.
Somehow. Yeah, way worse. And it also has these like very primitive graphics as well. It's a very. But I think it's as a concept, as a conceptual game, I think it's great. I think it's endlessly fascinating.
No, but with Penn and Teller, I don't think they're like the worst people to kind of come out of that era. They're fine. They basically just stick to their performance. I think.
Yeah, they're definitely not transphobic or anything like that. They seem not part of that whole anti-woke culture war as much as other people from that era.
Yeah, like Bill Maher, all those people. Yeah. That's like their whole thing now. Is they're only in the news for being transphobic.
Yeah, we lost Bill Maher. I mean, we never had Bill Maher. He was always sort of a weird guy.
Yeah, there was like that. I don't know how much of this we were. I don't know the format on this typically, but we're gonna delve into the 2010s religious era, but like but like with Bill Maher and like Sam Harris, you mentioned their whole thing was kind of. What was it, like anti-Islam sentiments, which I think kind of can be fair. Like I think it's hard to like talk about this, especially these days, because you don't want to like be Islamophobic, but like there's like a somewhat truth to like
I don't like any religion. Yeah, I'm Jewish. I don't like Judaism. It's not none of it is good in my mind. If I'm being perfectly honest. I understand why people need it. Like I think I have a general liberal philosophy of it's better if we're not killing each other, so you should let people believe what they believe and try and tamp it down if it enters your social life too much. But when stuff like Dobbs happens, you start foaming at the mouth and being like
yeah, and I feel like that new atheist moment back then died when a lot of those people kind of started being really, really weird with like Islam. Yeah. And like more than just like hey, religious institutions are bad. They got like really freaky about like the anti-Islam, and then that led into like the anti-feminist wave. I don't know. I feel like people have talked about this a lot. Like it's a very fascinating through line to like where we are now politically.
the Sarkeesian effect.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the difference is, like, what they would argue is that Islam is a uniquely bad religion. Like,
right.
it is much worse, and that's why, for all the faults of Christendom, we have ascended past, our savagery. When no, because obviously we kill way more of them than they kill of us. So no, we are the big savages. We are the evil encroaching.
And
force.
we're still sending people to like Africa and like influencing a lot of like their law to be like a lot of that like homophobic law that's being passed in some countries down in like Africa comes from a lot of like a lot of American institutes, like from their like law writing. It's crazy that we're still kind of doing a lot of this shit, and they try to pretend that they're like not bad anymore. It's like come on.
Chick-fil-A still gets a pass from people, but they're still funding this shit. They're still funding the kill the gays bills.
Yep. So. But no, they're not the Lord's chicken anymore though, because of the woke hysteria. Did you see that? There was that.
No,
post.
There was woke hysteria about Chick-fil-A. No, what happened? What happened?
I forget the exact thing that happened, but it was during the whole like Pride Month back in June. The whole Pride Month Dylan Mulvaney hysteria that right wingers were going on. That's kind of mostly died out now, I would say, at least to where we saw it. But there was this like TikTok that was making the rounds. So basically, this one person found out that Chick-fil-A takes what's the funding that is like basically you have like diversity training and you'll get funding from this like international organization. Do you know what that is? I forget.
I don't know the specific thing. No.
So basically they do like Chick-fil-A does diversity training, which pretty much
they read out settlers to people. They were doing. They were reading out white fragility to the.
Yeah, exactly. They're like people white other people that are not white exist. People might have pronouns. So that's basically the extent of it.
Sure, yeah.
But so this person found it out and was like, Chick-fil-A is no longer the Lord's chicken. We have to boycott. Yeah. So we have to boycott Chick-fil-A. And there was a little moment where people like genuinely were mad about Chick-fil-A being woke. Meanwhile, they're still funding those gay. That you mentioned those things. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just even if you get funding from one of those, the other thing is they don't want to get sued, and you get sued if you get human rights complaints if you discriminate against your employees. So of course you do the diversity training in order to get the regulators and the potential suers off your back. But no, it's the Lord's chicken.
It's no longer the Lord's chicken.
If you are not oppressing your minority workers, I will not eat your chicken.
That's definitely how they are. It's you had an ad with a trans woman, you have to go under.
Yeah.
Evil corporation now.
Well, that shit was so bizarre. I mean, it was inevitable, but it was also bizarre. Do you think, like, when Bud Light was doing it, they calculated, this is going to piss a lot of people off, and we're going to have a lot of good negative press as a result of this? Or,
some people theorized that when this was happening, because it really seemed like maybe they could have, but, like, I feel like no one expected this. Like, I don't know, that would be an insane thing to, like, want to happen. I feel like there's no way that they like calculated this would happen. I think maybe a little bit. Maybe they thought like, it'll create discussion. Like it might be that like sort of cynical type of thing.
It's sort of like I love Elvis, I hate Elvis thing. The people who are, who like woke capitalism will really be into this, and the people that dislike this will be talking about it, and Bud will be on everyone's lips throughout the entire summer. And it was, but not in sort of any productive way.
Yeah, it was just a really annoying, brain rotting type of way that you'd wake up and it's like day 76 of Bud Light discourse. Lovely.
Oh, the rich men making me drink Bud Light. I guess that's a posting guy that happened this week is the rich men in Richmond guy.
Yeah, where did that guy? So he's definitely like a industry plant, right? Like,
I have no idea. It could be they're doing a Sound of Freedom thing where they're buying up tickets to boost him, or they're buying up download sales to boost him or something like that. But
yeah, all I know is I logged on one day and all of a sudden this guy, everyone was talking about this guy. He has like 200,000 followers on Twitter, new account as of like 2 days ago. It's like something is going on here. This can't all be natural. I don't know.
Feels a little fishy, but
it's definitely a little fishy.
It has caught on with the right wings, and everyone gets to have an opinion about it because I think he's portraying himself to be some sort of centrist. No, sir, I don't. Everyone hates fat people on welfare, right? That's a centrist attitude.
Yeah, I saw the. I decided to finally look at the lyrics and that. Yeah, it was like, talking about fat people, talking about... I'll read the third verse. I don't know if you've
I haven't read the whole thing. I haven't. I'm very interested. Let us read about the rich man north of Richmond.
Yeah, so this is the third verse. Okay, actually, so this is... I think it's... I don't know if this is the second verse, but I'll do the end of whatever this is into the third verse. All right. I'm not going to sing because I don't do that.
I don't know I don't know the melody anyway.
I guess I don't either. Okay. Lord, we got folks in the streets, ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milking welfare. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for your bags of fudge rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground, 'cause all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
You're trying to take their fudge rounds away, dude. You're the one.
Yeah, it's like that's what's so funny about like the Matt Walsh post about this, where it's like, this is so clearly not about politics. This is about people feeling downtrodden in this country. And then you look at half the lyrics and it's about people being fat. It's
classic
like, okay,
welfare queen shit, the classic stuff they've been hammering home since the 80s. Yeah, but
this would be perfect on Bill O'Reilly.
But in that, I mean, that's like a populist dissatisfaction. I shouldn't use the term populist. That's a wrong term. It actually means something, populism. So, but yeah, I should say the popular dissatisfaction with government is a very easy thing to. Yeah, of course you hate the government. Oh, the government. Oh, yeah, taxes. I don't. Oh no.
Yeah.
So
like, especially if you grew up in that sort of environment, that sort of family, like a right-wing family, I mean, that's kind of all you hear. So of course that's going to just kind of be on your mind. I mean, not that I turned out that way, but I grew up in a right-wing family. Like, I mean, half my family is like libs. The other half is like my parents are right-wing. So like I heard a little bit of that, like, that hysteria about government or like Obama being evil. But like, I don't know, you got to like, like all it takes is like a little bit of thinking like, oh, you know what? Maybe Obama isn't demonic. Maybe he sucks for other reasons, but he's not demonic.
He's not killing babies. He's not getting 2,000 hot dogs, which are secretly male prostitutes, male sex workers.
Yeah.
I always had a running joke on this show where Obama went to the Epstein Island, but he waited outside. He didn't actually participate. Wasn't into it.
Not his crowd, yeah.
No. Me and Alan Dershowitz, we were standing outside. We were just playing forts. That's an older episode. That's word for word from a bit from an older episode.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Obama is like demonic not for like actual demon reasons, but just for the usual reasons,
Like there's like I do like how there's like a strain of right-wing people that still to this day will see like red, like the color red in like a pop music performance and being like, Lizzo is of the devil because there's red. Yeah, it's like that sort of stuff is so fascinating to me. It's like I genuinely forget that people still believe in like demonism, and
they
like,
really do. Yeah, people are dark-sided. Yeah. There are evil forces about people. How can you look at Sam Smith and be afraid? What are you doing? How can you look at Sam Smith and I fear this? This is terrible.
Yeah, like if like the only thing I think about them is just that they're kind of goofy looking and probably make music that's perfect for like 40-year-old like suburban white women. Like I don't really know like anything beyond.
They got my body type, they got, my pudgy body type. I like it when they're in straps and the straps go into their pudge because that's what will happen to me.
Yeah, that's
great
representation.
Great representation. Yeah, I love it.
And that's what America needs more is slightly bigger dudes.
Yeah. We need split the difference. Lizzo, she's out now. We're going for a smaller type of body positive.
Yeah, Lizzo canceled. It's over. You can't do that anymore.
No more body positivity. We're back to Kate Moss. Okay, it's Kate Moss again.
We're bringing back The Biggest Loser. That's going to be the biggest show again. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, people. We're bringing back Celebrity Fit Club. Dr. Drew's gonna kill some more celebrities for us.
Can't wait.
I wanted to talk about, because you have an extensive posting history. I wanted to ask some posting questions that are only relevant. So we're in sort of a weird position where we're both, we both have we don't have no wealth or providence or real power in this world, but we have a lot of followers on social media for some reason.
And that's basically the same thing as having wealth and political power.
Yeah. You can say anything to me because, I have this number next to my name, so just say anything. I'm not a person. I am an idea at this point. Which, I can't complain about because, I'm still out here posting. I like it when I get attention, of course.
Yeah, who doesn't? I mean, if people always be like, oh, you're doing this for clout, you're saying this for the attention. It's like, I mean, if you're on social media to some level, to some extent, you kind of are doing all of this for attention.
Yeah.
So I've always thought that critique to be kind of a weird thing because, aren't you on social media for attention? If not from a massive audience, from people that you're friends with that follow you.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always very strange to me.
People don't want to admit it because it's wanting attention is any form of vulnerability. If you admit any form of vulnerability, forget it. Then people can make fun of you.
People should be more vulnerable. It's fun. It's nice being vulnerable.
Yeah. You feel so much less pressure if you're just okay with being sort of goofy and not taking yourself that seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, also that very strong strain of judgment-based posting where, someone will do something in some minor petty infraction and people will get very mad about it, which I've definitely engaged in before.
Who hasn't? I mean, especially if it's I'm doing air quotes, but the right target, it's some guy messed up just too many times and now he's become an acceptable target to go in on, or just that's a very common thing that I try not to engage in as much anymore unless it's as we talked about before we started recording, if it's a right winger that's kind of a major freak, a really bad dude, I think that's acceptable.
Well, because they actually have a shot. If they're also on this public platform, they have a shot at influencing people. Their opinion actually might affect you materially in a negative way, such that it's worthy to fight them. Whereas if someone's just behaving stupidly, it's you don't really need to go in on them that hard. They're not affecting you in any significant way.
The most I'll do at this point is usually just block people being really excessively weird about things I say, which I think is fine. That should be how most people handle things like that.
Yeah. Sometimes you want to put everyone to task, but at some point you're just getting so many replies, you can't. I mean, you're actually out there doing politics stuff. I rarely post opinions now because I just get so exhausted of fuck you asshole. I don't I feel I'm right, but I just don't want to deal with the onslaught of negativity constantly.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I think it's a lot more fun because I'll do a mix. I'll kind of do some dumb shit posts, and then I will do politics stuff. Mm-hmm. And I think that balance makes social media more tolerable for me, at least in particular, because it is really exhausting to do primarily just politics posting, especially when it's really close to the heart, sort of social, trans type of the whole Dylan Mulvaney hysteria that was so genuinely exhausting, and so many trans people have gotten so scared during that period.
That shit was fucked up.
It was so fucked up, but so I totally get why you just want to post stuff that makes you laugh. It's more fun to do that, I will say. Yeah,
but sometimes, I mean, I posted an opinion, I think Hamilton is the worst thing of all time, and people are in my, you don't have a very strong opinion of art. You clearly haven't seen a lot of artwork if you think Hamilton is, just those little pissy comments where you're like, I want to shake you. But
sometimes I love those. I love nothing more than a bunch of weird little guys in my mentions just being weird.
Yeah. You gotta love them. I mean, that's the thing. Ultimately, if you approach the weirdness people more with curiosity than with judgment, you're always going to have a better time.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, once you get to a certain level, a certain platform, not even a necessarily huge one, it could just be 10K followers or whatever, you will start to get some of those guys,
Yeah. Was there ever a time that you got like too combative and you had to like rein yourself back?
I think so. It's been a while though. Let me think. Yeah, there was like a time. So this was before I had like kind of a lot of like my platform.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people followed me, maybe even before you did.
Yeah.
But the time I was canceled.
You were canceled.
I was canceled.
Oh no.
Back in like 2021.
Oh no.
It was like super. It was a while ago now. Yeah. So I had like, I think in that time I had like 7,000 followers. I was just a baby, just a posting baby at this time, and I made this joke. That was, I mean, it wasn't even like that clever. It was just something I posted.
Yeah.
It was basically, if I remember correctly, word for word, we need a slur for capitalists.
Oh,
It was just like a really simple, easy post.
Yeah. It's not, you're not saying that and were people like, are you a slur supporter? Do you support slurs? Yeah.
No, people genuinely, and it's like some of my mutuals at the time quote tweeted me. Yeah, they started open firing on me. Some of my old mutuals back in like 2021, and I lost like close to probably 800 followers for that post, and the result, like, and my response to these people, because I was basically just like, are you guys serious about this? Like, what the fuck is, like, what's going on? I just basically couldn't believe that is like the thing that led to my early cancellation.
Yeah.
So, and I kind of got in the weeds. I started arguing with people that were, I thought it was very silly that people were genuinely this mad at me about that. But yeah, no, I would say that's like the time where I was like, I've gotten in arguments with people that like don't really matter to me, like, right wingers. I still kind of do that to this day. But in terms of like in like an adjacent community that I've gotten in arguments with, I would probably say that was like one of the last times.
Yeah.
Because like after that experience, I lost a ton of mutuals at that time, and a ton of people unfollowed me. Which like 800, like if 800 people unfollow you when you have like 7,000 followers, that kind of that feels big. That felt like the end.
That's a big chunk. Yeah, but you continue to post.
I did, and there was a point where I genuinely was like, I'm just gonna delete my Twitter. Like during that, I was like, this just kind of sucks. I hate this.
Got demoralized.
I got close to deleting, which I'm glad I didn't. One of my close mutuals at the time basically was like, fuck this, like just keep going. Like this shouldn't be something that matters. And thankfully I didn't, because I, like, a year from then on, I've kind of hit this point where I'm at now. Or that I'm very fortunate to have.
Yeah. Well, but you have a very high ratio of like good posting, or like, or just, I think you also have like your mix of the sort of levity plus the politics is very, I think that's what draws people to you. Because it's like right. You can be serious, but also, you're not joyless like these Republicans that can't watch fucking movies or sports anymore because of Bud Light is on it. You don't have that same sense of just, and I think, the left sort of, I think there was some sort of, not accurate, I didn't encounter it as much as people said it was, but there was some sort of scolding aspect to the left, especially, when Trump was around and everyone was losing their mind. And
100%.
And I think I've seen the movement largely outgrow that, or, you just don't see it as much anymore. I think people got tired of finger wagging, at least in my estimate. Whereas now it's the right wing who's the finger waggers. They're the intense, can't enjoy basic pleasures anymore people.
Yeah, I mean, they're not every, but like, yes, for the most part, like in popular discussion, popular culture, like right-wing media and type of shit, I mean, they're mad about the Barbie movie, they're mad about like everything, they get mad about everything. And I think kind of growing up, as I was kind of talking about before, in like a very right-wing family of not like culturally right-wing type of people, but like just more like, I mean, they kind of were, I guess, to an extent. They bought into a lot of like the Obama fear-mongering. Yeah. But like in terms of like, they weren't, my family was never like transphobic, homophobic, anything like that. So I think kind of growing up with that and always having like the most left-leaning opinion in my family, and I'm a very opinionated person in the way that like I love to talk, and I love to talk to people about different like political ideas. So me and my father, like growing up, me and him started like talking about politics when I was like 15, when I was in high school. So having that like really young perspective of me being this like lefty, this hopeful 15-year-old, 16-year-old lefty talking to my like kind of like libertarian right-wing kind of a he's got silly beliefs kind of right-wing guy kind of really helped me talk in a way that was like, you know, not really scolding, but like in a way that like I can kind of talk to any sort of person and have a good time. Like me and my dad like have such a great relationship. Whenever we talk politics, we'll usually end up laughing about it afterwards, and we you know we reminisce about really like funny discussions we've had that I like just really irritated him. So it's like I feel it's a valuable skill to be able to kind of talk to any type of person, and I feel like that's really influenced my posting style, because I've always had that like perspective of talking to people I disagree with.
Yeah, absolutely. Curiosity, rein your judgment in, because the curiosity is more important. Why do you think the way you do? What experiences have informed the way you think you do? You know, there's always something, if not intellectually deep to it, something emotionally deep to it.
Yeah.
Which is, and finding out those like little pieces of psychology is always sort of fascinating, and, you know, alerts you to the humanity of these people. Which sometimes you don't want to acknowledge because they actively work against you a lot of the time. But,
like people like Matt Walsh, not a human. He's
soul. Not a There's you can cross a line to the point where you just talk about Obama being demonic. Matt Walsh is a fucking demon. His horrible little fucking baby doll. I hate that shit so much. That little baby effigy he made of himself. That little cherubic baby effigy.
Yeah,
I hate that shit.
What does he call it? Like the diaper club, and like there was like a video of him kind of justifying it, like when people found out about that, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no, my fans love talking about he had like this. I wish I remembered off the top of my head, but he had this like weird justification of like his fans being like, "Oh yeah, it's just like an inside joke, and my fans asked for it," and it's like, dude, you have some fucking weird fans if this is something they asked for.
Well, yeah, they're always like barely suppressing the most perverted instincts of all time, you know?
Yeah.
It's like that was you look at all this Crowder shit that came out recently. He's always doing this crazy gay shit all the time, and everyone's just like, well, it's better when he's doing the gay shit because then he won't beat us and yell at us.
Yeah. I think it was that recent story where it was like, Steven Crowder can't stop sexually harassing his male coworkers. It's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's
or like that Joey Marinino dude on Twitter. That was, I need to check again, but at the time when I checked up on how many times he tweeted the phrase tranny semen in referring to Bud Light, it was close to about 30 different times he posted about tranny semen.
Oh, you really like this a lot. You really enjoy this phrase.
These people, I forget who coined this phrase. I don't know if it was a poster or some sort of like academic, but sexuality is political pathology for especially the right wing.
Oh yeah,
like it is crazy.
For sure. It all I mean, the Chapo's been talking about for a long time how a lot of people's political preferences comes down to a libidinal thing.
I think that's maybe where I've heard of that is from Chapo.
Yeah. I mean that sort of like, I have this theory as to why the UK is uniquely transphobic, because I call it the dance of repression, and I think that's sort of like what motivates a lot of queerphobia, homophobia, and transphobia as well. It's like you sort of want it, but you can't allow yourself to want it. But sort of that not allowing yourself to want it is part of the sexual thrill you get from it. You know, and that's what England is all about, is like, we can't have it, we must suppress, and in this suppression we get very horny. We get very horny indeed. And I think that's sort of what that sort of tabloid culture is all part of that, where it's like, you get to talk about sex, but you also get to cluck your tongue at it and like, filthy, you know, but also you get to like, because, you know, that's what happens to trans people, is get over-sexualized in that tabloid stuff media, which, you know, just leads into that dance of repression shit.
Yeah, like, I don't know, I'm sure you've seen one of these types of posts, but where there will be a trans person making just, you know, any sort of post, and there will be someone in the replies saying like, "Oh, you'll never be a real woman."
Yeah.
And then that person will check their likes, and you go back far enough, and it's like, "Oh, they're liking trans porn." Oh,
yeah,
they
of course.
retweet
Yeah,
trans
it's always
porn.
always
it's like,
that.
okay, dude. All right.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, there's also like a deep sadness, is because it's like, you probably want this for yourself, but you're not allowing yourself to have it, and it's like, oh shit. You are living a terrible hell right now that you don't even know you're in. But fuck you as well, because you're an awful piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of one way I sort of approach talking to like some of these like transphobic people. Like, so I obviously have a lot of followers. I get a lot of people in my replies every day. Every once in a while, like, I'll get like the classic reply of like, "Oh, you'll never be a woman," intermixed with a bunch of like more annoying type of people. Like, to me, there's two different types of transphobic people online. There's the type that are doing it for attention, not even necessarily that they are specifically transphobic themselves.
Yeah.
Maybe they are.
15-year-old VTubers or something like that.
Yeah, they're just doing it because it's the funny, cool, like edgy thing to do because people might get triggered. And then it's like the Matt Walsh types where they genuinely believe in this project of transphobia.
They have a frothing at the mouth, apocalyptic, genocidal point of view.
Yeah, they have like a profit motive in engaging in this. But so like sometimes when I see those people that are clearly, at least by my estimation, just kind of saying shit that might get them attention. My favorite thing to do is if I see some of these, I'll just be like, I'll reply to them and be like, "Do you feel more fulfilled in your personal life after saying this to me?"
Yes.
And so like I've done that a couple of times, and once specifically one dude was like, "You know what? I'm sorry," and he deleted his reply. He made a post on his account saying like, he basically was like, "I'm gonna become better."
That's nice. It worked once, so you gotta keep doing it. That's the joke, is no one apologizes on the internet, but I've seen people apologize lots of times on Twitter. I've seen people rein themselves in. It's not as uncommon as you might think.
Yeah, I don't think you should apologize ever. I think apologizing is weak, and you look like a fool if you apologize, unless you're wrong about the opinions that I hold.
Yeah.
If you're wrong, then you should apologize, but otherwise, don't ever apologize.
I mean, I apologize to get people on my back. I don't care, but it might have been the wrong move, because then Movie Bob came up and said, "Congratulations on apologizing. That was really big of you to do." And to this day,
was this
Movie
about
Bob.
that art?
Yeah, you are not special. Yeah, talk about the time I got canceled, but I didn't really get canceled. The funny thing about that is I didn't lose I gained a lot of followers from that event, so it wasn't like eventually it was also just so silly that I couldn't but I was so sad. There were all these like very young people saying like, "You have made my suicidality go up," and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I know you might be exaggerating or seeking attention, but if you're genuine about this, I'm very sorry. Like, I was genuinely sorry. And
yeah, that was one of the things where I see my mutuals going after my mutuals, and I'm just closing my eyes, and I'll wait for the aftermath to
yeah. But yeah, the only reaction you can have to that is like, don't pour salt in the wound. Just like, well, you made a bad joke, you had a bad day. So yeah, it wasn't that bad, just because of how stupid, and it might have affected me more if I was like putting my actual opinion out there. But the joke of the comic was, "This is a terrible thing to say to a child. Do not say this to a child." The joke is, this is a bad thing to say to a child, but people thought I genuinely meant it, or just so people thought I was being like a edgy Reddit guy. So
yeah, going back to like the old atheist type shit. Like back in the 2010s, it was a really popular thing to do if you were like a new atheist. Be like, "Oh, we don't matter. We're just like a tiny dot and on a tiny dot in the universe." Yeah,
I mean, or it's like the earliest internet joke that I remember is the Maddox "your kids suck" joke. Rating the kids' paintings as F jokes. Are you too young for Maddox? Do you remember Maddox?
I feel like this is something I do know, but I don't think I was really around during this time.
Yeah.
So what was the
the gag was Maddox is like acerbic pseudo-libertarian blog where he rated kids' artwork and said it was gave them all F, which like in 2004 when I was 14 was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that's kind of like the Rainbow Fish gimmick Twitter account that people would draw rainbow fish art for that Twitter account, and they would just be like, it fucking sucks.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be mean to kids. That's not what you. So that's the humor, and it's it's sort of a played out joke, but sometimes a played out joke will get you in trouble. Is what I've learned.
Yeah. No, everyone has their the moment they were canceled. It's something, thankfully, that unless you're horrible enough that you don't have to like hide in fear about, because usually it's pretty silly.
I think your reach and also your sort of willingness to go there and challenge people has resulted in. Like, weren't you feuding with Mr. Beast a while about the goddamn chocolate bars for a bit?
I was feuding with Mr. Beast.
That's so fun. I only became aware of this guy like 6 months ago, and it's like, there's this guy. He's the biggest YouTuber on earth. All of his YouTube thumbnails are terrifying looking, and he does these Squid Game competitions. I was like, all right, this is life. This is reality, I guess.
Yeah, so I've like kind of been aware of Mr. Beast for a long time. Yeah, so I've known about him for at least probably 5 years now. It was like pre-pandemic I first heard about this guy. So I had a friend in college who started dating this dude, and he was really cool. I thought he was really awesome. He's still a nice guy. Haven't talked to either of them in a while though. But basically, this dude started talking about Mr. Beast videos. And keep in mind, we're like in college. We were like 22, 21, 23, something around that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is Mr. Beast? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So me and my friend would just like make fun of her boyfriend a lot. Like we would be like just talking about Mr. Beast, make fun of him. And eventually we like watched a Mr. Beast video. He was like, he decided to show us one of his videos, and it was like one of his early ones.
That like the weird prank ones, or the weird ones where he's giving homeless people like a couple of $100.
Not the homeless one. It was, I think the specific one we watched was like filling his entire backyard, or like his entire friend's backyard with like Orbeez.
Sure.
So it was like weird stuff like that, and we were like, this is like really strange that you at like 22 are watching like what is essentially child content. Like at least at the time that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was like, why are you watching like kid YouTube content? So like I've always kind of had like this somewhat like off-putting opinion. Like I've always just thought Mr. Beast was like kind of a weird guy.
Yeah. There is a Coco Melon for adults quality to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly how I thought of him. And then after college, I didn't really think of him like about him too much. I didn't really have a reason to, but then he started to really blow up.
Yeah.
And then do all this like chocolate stuff. And then I started feuding, about the chocolate, his source chocolate, which I don't regret getting into that, but it resulted in a lot of really annoying people getting really mad at me, and people from those arguments still get mad at me. Like people still like post that some of the old replies I left to Mr. Beast to try to like own me, and I'm like, dear God.
Yeah.
So like I try not to engage in like Mr. Beast discourse
anymore.
Yeah.
It's also he's so innocuous as well. Like as much as I think that whole thing is sinister, like there are worse people out there than Mr. Beast. Maybe, who knows what'll happen in the future, but
there's definitely worse people out there, I think. And it's like my opinions on Mr. Beast aside, like he's not in like an evil dude. Maybe he's demonic. I know there was he is
Mr. Beast 666, he appears doing great miracles, like there is a dark-sided quality to, especially like the smiles, the goatee as well. You have all the devil quality.
There's no soul in those eyes when he smiles.
But I can't accuse him of that. I don't know the person, but I don't like the shit. I think it's bad for. I mean, because it's the old thing of like the Andrew Carnegie style charity is like, look how good capitalism is because we can do this effective altruism through it. And
that was like always my main critique of a lot of his videos and a lot of his charity work is like it is that like entrepreneurial altruism that we continue to see, specifically the one that I think I kind of got into that like kind of started getting me more talking about Mr. Beast was the shoes thing in Africa, where it was just like, okay, you brought a ton of shoes and aren't really like bringing that means to make shoes to that like city or
it's the classic Tom Shoes thing, you remember the whole Tom Shoes controversy when it was actually found that bringing them over there, or there were, I forget, but it was some detracting from the actual economy of the African countries that it was supposedly supporting.
Yeah, I think that was one of the examples someone at the time was posting. Like they compared the Mr. Beast thing to that, and people get very mad when you point stuff like that out. And
because he's doing something. Something good is happening, just in sort of like this strange circuitous way that's not efficient or sustainable. Or
it's good in a way that's not going to actually fix the problem. Like it's short term, maybe it's going to change some people's lives, and there's a genuinely good quality to it, probably, but it's not going to like fix the underlying issue. It's the classic. I just said it's the classic, but I don't know what that would be called. Like the like a very classic like lib-brained take of like we just have to keep giving money. Compared to like like just one more lane, one more lane on this highway.
one more lane will do it. That we don't have to do any sort of. This suicidal obsession against centralization. Any type of centralization is socialism. Any type of centralization is communism. This really we can't do public transport because the private sector does everything better, which has been the bipartisan knowledge since the 80s, right? Everyone believed in Milton Friedman, Reagan believed in Friedman, Clinton believed in Friedman. I'm sure Barack Obama believed in Friedman,
Definitely. If not him, a lot of his staff, for sure. Yeah.
And, that sort of informed the idea that, supply-side economics, never really went away. We still largely hold the idea that deregulation is good and that lower taxes are good. I think that is
it's
more
that
people
weird
believe
dichotomy.
That than not.
Yeah, it's like that weird dichotomy that you see in a lot of, like, specifically in America polling, where it's like, Americans want, like, free healthcare, like people like the idea of like a national healthcare, but then in the same poll it's like, but Americans want less government. It's like people just don't understand what they want, or like ideology, which fair, ideology is very confusing. And
mine doesn't make any sense.
It's very confusing, and you have to like do a lot of introspection, and like if you're a leftist, a lot of reading, and a lot of like you have to do a lot of work to really make an effort to have a consistent ideology. And most Americans just kind of watch TV and just think whatever they watch is good and right,
I know I do. I'm not an American, but I'm not reading theory. I'm not reading Proudhon. Get the fuck out of here.
See, because that's homework. That takes a lot of effort. That's why people like reaction streamers.
Yeah, or that's what you one of your best posts is doing the, who was it? Was it it was the Subway Surfers and Family Guy and the Tactile Sand, and was it like Michael Parenti or something?
It was Michael Parenti. It was Michael Parenti over the Subway Surfers and then the Moon Sand cutting videos, because there was like I forget exactly what caused this, but like I don't know what started this kind of content, but it was a lot of TikTok style content. And I don't know if you know who Ostenox is. That's
I don't
Hassan's. Hassan Piker's like editor for I think his YouTube or something like that, but Ostenox made like an edit very similar to that. Like he put like Hassan clips over like Family Guy videos and like that sort of thing. And then I was like, you know what? You could actually do like some you could actually spread like leftist thought by just like putting these old debates on over this like ADHD overload content style. And I put that on TikTok, and if I remember correctly, last I checked, that TikTok has like over 100,000 likes
it
or
worked.
Something like that. It went like super viral. It went like really viral on TikTok, and I was gonna make a project out of it, and it got 250,000 plays.
That's a lot.
So like I might continue that, but that just kind of takes a little bit of an effort that I don't have at the moment. But that was a fun little era of ADHD overload, because it does work. It did work.
Yeah, for some reason. It's so, I mean, that's like the ongoing ADHD debate, how prevalent is it? But to some degree, it's like everybody has fucking ADHD now. Like, if you're online at all, you just develop it. If you didn't have it before, you have it now, I know that's not how it works, but that's, it is an actual condition, which is not to detract from the people that actually like have the like the real intense versions of it. But
I know what you mean, though. It's like that lack. It's like the ability. We lost the ability of not necessarily we all didn't get ADHD. We just kind of all have less attention span for things that don't give immediate feedback.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's because like you can read, and I have several books that I'm looking at right now where it's like, you know, I should read those.
Mm-hmm.
I have started a book over there, and I really want to read it, but it's just so much easier to pick up my phone and you get that instant hit. You know, I could just post she goblin on my mode till I whatever. I could just post anything like that, and get like a bunch of people saying LOL, and it fuels that ADHD mindset that we have.
Mm-hmm.
There is a truth in those people that are like, social media is ruining the brains of kids, and it's like there's kind of a truth to it, but also like I don't know, I don't want to be reactionary.
Not in the way that they think. You know, I mean, that's the thing about like the QAnon people. Yes, there is a cabal of pedophiles at the highest power. Not the ones you're thinking of. You have accused the wrong people of being, but there are.
Yeah, no, that's always the problem. Is a lot of these like right wingers will approach a topic like that, and on the surface, it's like, oh, maybe they have a point, and it's like they don't, obviously, but they always are like very surface level.
Yeah. It's rich men in
approach.
Richmond. Yeah, it's rich men north of Richmond. It's like, yeah, we all hate rich men. Yeah, fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck fat people.
All those Jews all in Jewville, you know. That's immediately what I thought of when I heard of this. Oh, the Jews up there in New York and Jaime Town, you know.
Yeah, and like you can also see the reaction like to that, where it's like, oh, Matt Walsh loves this video. Oh, Elon Musk follows this guy that's talking about the rich man.
Yeah.
Okay, what's going on here? Why are all these rich men on the side of this supposedly class conscious working dude who just has his guitar and his soul, you know?
Yeah.
It's like maybe it's because there's something underlying here that is reactionary.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, I think, no, we all dislike fat people on welfare. That's... Why are people so... I had this thing on one of my stupid bonus podcasts. I do these, like, vague ideas of, like, generally animating political philosophies, and one of right-wing philosophy that I've sort of become obsessed with, my crackpot theory, is anti-proportional thought.
Okay,
you know,
explain that.
Okay, so you know when like a Republican will point to like a map and it's like, looks like there's more red than blue here, is all I'm saying. But that attitude of not being able to judge relative size or density carries over in all political attitudes. Like the example I used was like Jordan Peterson saying, well, I'm going to go to jail if I don't use pronouns correctly. Yeah, maybe, like, if 14 very unlikely things happen, yes, you know. But the problem is, like, this very small potential problem you have accentuated into something very large. And I think that's sort of like a quality of, you know, these Matt Walsh types or these Elon types, is they've taken... these petty social justice issues that really don't affect anyone that much. I mean, obviously they hammer on it because it gets eyeballs on them, and it's, you know, something that people are into now for whatever reason, which is part of the motivation behind it. But it's also like this something that is small and doesn't affect them suddenly becomes the largest thing in the world. You know, just at least, you know, in the 80s. Republicans had more of a claim to the idea that, even though they were obviously irrational, but at least it was like Milton Friedman, right? You know, this is logic. You know, this is they exactly, they had an actual intelligentsia. But now it's just all about these petty personal grievances, that like these interactions, like God Sod fearing that, they're going to all make fun of me and point and laugh at me if I get the pronouns wrong of the Starbucks barista. It's like, what? This is anti-proportional thought. This is not, the relative size of the problem you're assessing is not as large as you think it is. And that's sort of become an undergirding factor of how to understand the current right-wing mode.
Yeah, no, you're so right. There was a post. I forget who made it. It might have even been that Pearl person.
A good old Pearl. Who the hell is a new posting legend is born? A new wonderful freak.
A wonderkin. Yeah, I love her. What a fascinating person.
Yeah. It's like the movie of this crazy Texas lady with the high pitched voice. You're like from the movie that just came out.
But no, I feel like this post didn't get as much of attention, of course, as her Jewish song or like her thinking women can't vote. But she made a post like a month or two ago saying like my current favorite movement leaders on the right are like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, like Online Groiper 22, and it's like these people, like that says a lot about like the modern conservative movement, where like your average like weird conservative, like their favorite intellectual is like some guy that posts on Twitter.
Yeah, I really didn't get woke until lo-fi Republicans started turning me on to, I really trusted his Diddy Kong avatar, because I myself identify with Diddy Kong. I also wear a hat and am small.
I'm so sad I'm blocked by that dude. He's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss lo-fi Republican. Yeah. One of my favorites.
Bronze Age pervert. All these classics. All these wonderful classics. Earlier we were talking about the wonderful Cybersmith, who I am for Cybersmith, who everyone's suddenly discovering because he recently posted face, and it's far more. The most beautiful thing happened. This really weird guy also looks like a really weird guy. He's
got like some some industrial era drip.
Yes.
It's crazy. He looks straight out of like the 1800s.
What was amazing to me is, and I have a double chin. So if I pull my face in too much, I have a chin which coalesces totally into my neck, is that he extended his handlebar mustache by incorporating his neck beard into it, and the illusion is seamless because his chin blends into his neck. And it's like, I was amazed at that. That is very strategic neck beard use,
Yeah, he's so smart. Yeah. Like, he understands. He follows the menswear guy. He follows his advice. like he's you got to go for like slightly larger guys. You got to go to the Cybersmith for your tips.
Your fashion advice. Your straw purple fedoras. You need a straw purple trilby. No, I think it's a pork pie. It's a pork pie hat that he's wearing. Even better. Wonderful.
It's so perfect.
Yeah.
But no, I think was that before we were recording, we were kind of talking about him.
Yeah.
It's like I fear what's going to happen now that he's breached. He's left containment of like weird sort of like left Twitter. I don't know.
Yeah, he's going to become the new Milo or something like that, where he'll just get a huge amount. He's not a gay turncoat or anything like that, but he'll have his own thing where he'll get really popular, and then everyone discovers, oh no, this guy's very perverted.
They'll find his old Tumblr posts. Yeah.
What is the human pet thing? I only half Didn't he post some sort of scenario about cutting someone's tendons and having them be at a restaurant so they're your human pet?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I'm not like a human pet guy understander. I don't know too much. I kind of keep my distance with him. I just kind of occasionally see what people I follow, like Jenny type pants, or like what's the dog, I forget their current name on Twitter.
Okay.
Samoyed Core.
Oh yeah.
They'll typically post a lot of updates about the Cybersmith, but yeah, like I think the thing that put the Cybersmith on the map, which is a funny way to refer to being this kind of guy, is he made like a blog post. I think it was talking about. I think like the whole point he was trying to make was that he didn't want to see like gay people in public. So like he like his thing, yeah. Like I think that's what.
And
it was.
And he was comparing it to human pets.
Yeah, he was basically, his argument was like, yeah, so would you want to go to a restaurant in public and see like me with my human pet that I have like on the ground that I feed scraps? Like, is that something you would want to see? But like he was making that argument, but then it's like also kind of like a I don't know if it's like a fetish for him, but he kind of made that his whole thing where he like wants like a human pet. I don't know. I wish I was more well read in the Cybersmith lore.
We don't know about the human pet aspects of it. There is a human pet aspect to it, though. That's all you need to know. Is that comes into the long posting history of this wonderful person who, once again, no real animosity. Yeah, he just says like awful right wing stuff, but I guess the worry about exposing him is now he will be power. He will have power now, so I can no longer approach him with curiosity. I can only approach him with judgment now. I can no longer think of him as cute and sort of innocent and in a sort of weird way, because now
thankfully
he has clout.
I don't think a lot of people are going to be won over by his his ideology of human pets and his like milking. Have you heard the milking trans women one?
No.
Another one that he's kind of somewhat known for is he wants to create an ethical way to get like milk to replace like cows. So he was like, yeah, we could like hook up trans women and like we can do like ethical sourcing of like milk that way.
But why trans
like,
women
okay,
specifically?
I don't know,
Why couldn't you use cis women? Is that because they need them for babies? Is that or
probably
something? Oh, yeah.
Probably. I don't know. There's something. It's the cybersmith. He's got some weird stuff. With the Western Kabuki, like one of the first things that we did was interview the cybersmith.
Of course.
That's maybe not what put us on the map, but like a lot of people were interested.
We need to know about the cybersmith. What is going on with this guy? Like, because he's not
Caleb did a great.
I'm sorry. You go on. You go on.
I was just Caleb did a great interview, but one of my favorite things to tell about that interview is while Caleb was talking to him, he was retweeting, specifically the cybersmith was retweeting diaper porn on Twitter. So like he's a real freak.
Yeah, he rules. He kind of rules, which is like, yeah, be yourself. Everyone wants to think of themselves as like a Marquis de Sade style libertine, and this guy's actually going so far and living the life. Yeah. Wow. Have you interviewed any sort of other polarizing Twitter figures on Western Kabuki? What were your last few ones?
So we did. This was like right after the Krasensteins got unbanned on Twitter.
Yeah.
We interviewed Brian Krasenstein.
Yeah, Brian Krasenstein.
Yeah. We were just like, hey, do you want to come on? And he was like, yes. We were like, that was much easier than we thought. And this was like before he became like a super Elon Dick writer.
Yeah.
Like how he currently is.
Oh yeah, we were talking about clout maniacs earlier, and I don't know if you can talk such smack about him, but he's the quintessential clout maniac.
What I will say, is I don't know when this is going up, but in a week or two, we're going to be talking to him again in a much more aggressive tone.
Okay. Going to be so challenging the Krasensteins.
Yeah, we're going to do another interview where we kind of go. The intention is to kind of go off on them a little bit more than we did, because it was a very friendly. We challenged him a little bit in the first interview, but it was a very friendly interview at the time, and ever since we put that out, we're like, oh, like he's kind of been really awful and annoying.
Yeah.
For so many different reasons.
Yeah, lately. The one which really turned, because I had never like disliked him. I was like, okay, here's this weird liberal media guy who his whole bit is centrist. He's less entertaining than Jeff Tiedrick, but his genericness is also what makes him fascinating as well.
Yeah, he's just an interesting figure.
Yeah. But yeah, he actively posting like, I made so much money off of these Twitter ads. And like, dude, you're leading people into a scam right now. That's like very unethical in my view.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to a lot of his history of doing scams, though. So I guess we can't be too surprised. I don't know if you know that history of him and his brother's financial scams that they got involved with.
I know about their children's book about Mueller. That's
yeah, yeah. No, we actually asked him about that too, and apparently, at least from what he said, they didn't actually make too much money off of that.
Yeah.
They only printed like 1,000 copies, so not too many copies of that exist.
Didn't they have like a hot, muscular Mueller in it or something like? Or am I making that?
They did. No, they had a very, very muscular, very like, very like, what's going on here? See, it always goes back to the sexual nature of politics. It always does. People just want a big buff man to take down Trump.
It's the Ben Garrison instinct too. He depicts Trump as a big muscular brick shithouse.
And then even Trump himself can't stop talking about how he wants to kiss the large generals.
Our large boys, our largest boys. Look at them, they're so big. They're so big. His association with Vince McMahon. No, but I understand that, because I also, I'm sure WWF was probably my introduction to homoeroticism. I'm sure, that's the reason why I tend to like a large man as well. But yeah, who doesn't like our big... Every time you see like a very large... muscular person in real life, you're always like, the mood is heightened a little, like you're in a Fellini movie or something like that. That's why John Cena is so funny. It's always, when you're around a really huge dude, it's like, Or it's like that episode of Malcolm in the Middle where Hal is leading all of those incredibly muscular men around, and they're all following him. Yeah, there's just it's sort of an inherent comedy to it as well, an inherent fascination with our large boys, our very large boys.
Do you watch The Righteous Gemstones?
Yes, I love The Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, season 2, the Kelvin.
Yes,
the Kelvin
yeah.
Season where he's just surrounds himself with like the most muscular homoerotic men.
Yeah. Torsten, good old Torsten. And then he proves himself with an act of strength at the end.
Yeah, that mindset, that'll never go away, and I totally get it. I mean, you're right. Ben Garrison is on the money with that. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why we talk about Ben Garrison comics. It's not because he makes points. It's because of all the cum and like all the stuff that he clearly puts into
big
these
ass
comics.
Hillary Clinton and big ass AOC. He's always drawing huge ass. Yeah, well, that's what's like beautiful about right wing comics, especially if like they're good artists as well. Like I sort of have this ongoing obsession with that George Alexopoulos guy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Because especially that one about CRT, where it's the child going to school and he gets traumatized by the CRT. It's like, it's so psychologically obvious what's going... You're the kid. You think of yourself as the kid. You're the big-eyed innocent. You want to, you're always accusing, queers of being self-infantilizing, but that's what... the Matt Walsh baby! You were the child!
Yeah, no, it always comes back to that. It's crazy. But no, right-wing comic books are always fascinating as well. My friend who works at a comic book showed me like a new guy in the right-wing comic foray. I'm trying to find it. I took a picture of it because I was looking at this comic and I'm like, oh my God, like right-wing comics are just like, it must be so easy, man. It must be so easy.
I'd like to. I mean, it's sort of like another thing I saw that George Alexopoulos guy doing is like he made a complaint about people not paying artists enough. I think the thrust of the comic was a person in a suit was saying, oh, why don't people make statuary like this anymore? And then he pipes up, his self-insert character pipes up and says, well, we could if you just pay us. And it's like, but dude, you chose the political side that thinks art is gay. Like, what did you want? These people, they're not going to pay for your art unless it like explicitly mirrors their political point of view, which is how you make your money.
Right. Yeah. Like long past are the days where you could just like live in a super cheap housing unit and just like kind of do your art for like no money at all.
I feel
like that doesn't really happen anymore.
Yeah. There used to be more right-wing artists, or there was like less of or probably not. I have no historical, but it's not that there aren't right-wing artists, and it's not that there aren't good right-wing artists even. I would even point to someone like Clint Eastwood like that. He makes really good movies, but yeah, it's so weird to me becoming a right-wing artist too, because it's like, it feels like your ideology militates against the idea of art in general. Which is, why it's funny to me, like, Ben Shapiro is this failed screenwriter. You're someone who's not capable of emotions, who thinks emotions are gay, trying to communicate emotions,
Yeah. I mean, it always goes back to that, like, very lib-brained thought of, like, right-wing voters are they're voting against their own interests, which, kind of true, but, like... I don't know. I always have weird thoughts about like, people are voting against their interests, because it's like, it's not really against their interests.
No.
Like it comes down to like a lot of socioeconomic factors for these people. Yeah. But it is always fascinating when it is like, yeah, you're right. Like an artist who very clearly will never get what they want out of living, believing the ideology that they believe in.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it depends what you paint as well. I'm sure there are lots of John McNaughton. Do you know about the art of John McNaughton?
I don't think so, no.
John McNaughton is the one that paints the sort of realistic drawings of Trump with Lincoln and the founding fathers. And
oh, yes, I have. I've seen those. I didn't know the name of the artist. There was like an edited version where it like had Andrew Tate in it recently, right? Yeah.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I guess the thing is, I say it has no emotional quality, but there is a very strong emotional quality to that, whether it be sort of like a surging nationalism or patriot pride or idea. There is, but it's not like it's not centered around sort of communicating something universal or communicating a human experience, but rather exclusively an ideology, And art which is purely ideological usually isn't very good, even on the left, when you see like art which is like much more didactic than it is trying to communicate like an emotional tenor. It always sort of it's not as good as.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, I have a fascination with, like, political music in particular. Because there was a period where I was kind of going back and listening to some Trump-era music, like, specifically that was, like, addressing Trump. And it's like, dear Lord, this shit has not aged well. Like, some of this stuff really sucks. But, like, I would go back to, like, Bush-era music. And, like, some of it maybe hasn't aged well. But, like, there was a time, like, on the left where, like, Bush era music kind of has aged much better than like modern like political art, and I don't really know why. Like I would love to kind of like analyze,
if I were to
like,
say,
at least why, in my opinion, why it's aged better, like Bush era stuff did than like
might be a controversial opinion. Might be controversial, but I'll say like Bush to me, like Trump arguably has an equal body count to Bush because of COVID mismanagement, but it seems a lot of that was, you know, not specifically malicious, maybe malicious, but less malicious than George W. Bush, who actually did run an insane genocidal campaign, like, of intentional malice that killed millions of people.
Yeah, just blatant lies.
Yeah. So the evil of that is much more apparent than sort of the bumbling, incompetent evil of Trump, who, you know, did accomplish a lot of bad stuff, but was not competent enough to accomplish the sheer breadth of bad stuff that Bush accomplished intentionally. I mean, Trump may have done bad stuff unintentionally, but that, you know, sort of makes all the entire experience stupider, like so much dumber, which is why it's hard to be serious about it, because, like it's also stupid that it's like to get worked up about it is like, you know, you have to go into the crevasse of stupidity yourself.
Yeah, no, I have a friend who I've known for like 2 decades now, and she's very offline. She does not have any social media. She doesn't engage in like much news or movies. Like, she's just a very offline person. She doesn't get up in the discourse, and occasionally we'll like talk politics or whatever. We'll just talk. And she asked me recently, like, who do you hate more, Trump or Bush? Like, I think specifically what she asked me is if either one of those would like run, like if they could run for president again, like Bush obviously can't, but if he could, who would you rather see be president again? Bush or Trump? And I said, like, almost immediately, like Trump, like easily. And she was like fascinated by that. Like, she's like kind of like lib, like she's kind of a lib, like she's not like super into politics, but enough to like kind of be on the left. And she just couldn't believe that I thought Trump was not as bad as Bush. And I kind of started talking about, like, you know, what you mentioned, like the campaign of genocide against like people in the Middle East. And a lot of people just don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah, because it's way over there. And it didn't, you know, how they haven't heard Blowback. They just got to listen to Blowback, you know. But it was also, I think the thing about what libs especially hate about Trump is that he was the one that ruined decorum. You know, he was the one, however much we hated Bush, at least, you know, there was some sort of process that he adhered to that was indicative of the American democracy. Because, you know, that's what libs care about more than anything is processes. They're Robert's Rules sickos, you know, more than anything else. They love Robert's Rules. So if somebody kills 1 million people but does it through Robert's Rules. But it's not insane, too, because George W. Bush wasn't even a process person. He pushed through tons of stuff, you know, without the proper channels. So, you know.
But I mean, it's cliche to say, but like, of course, it's like he wasn't mean. He didn't say mean things about stuff, you know. There really is a truth to like the mean tweets sort of thing. Yeah.
As long as you present yourself with some sort of, you know, I'm just a little innocent boy, you know, I just am a Christian, you know, people will ignore the fact that you murder millions of people. 1 million people. Let's be fair. Only 1 million, you know, not millions, but
only we'll lowball it here. Only 1 million. He was just a little birthday boy. He made a mistake.
Only one.
He's going to put out a ukulele video. He's going to apologize, and we'll forgive him.
Well, he kind of did that with his fucking paintings. That's so fucking infuriating. Oh, you're painting the soldiers who died under you? That's the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. That's
insane. Yeah.
But yeah, remember Ellen, fucking my friend George W. Bush? He campaigned against gay marriage. What are you doing, Ellen? Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah, society libs are awesome. I love them.
He was a nice old man. So much.
So yeah. I went to dinner with my girlfriend's family the other night, and her family is very like libbed up, super libbed up, and I love them. I think they're great. Yeah. But there was one person that I was talking to, and we were talking about politics as often that comes up in just like everyday life always. And she mentioned how she when she one of the times she came and visited Chicago, they don't live in Chicago, but they visited Chicago, stayed at a hotel, and you know how there's the Trump Tower in Chicago. She got a room that was like facing the Trump Hotel, and when she saw that view, she was like, I can't stay here. I can't look at the Trump Tower.
That's kind of sweet.
yeah, and she like genuinely, the way she told the story, she actually got a refund on that room and got a different room.
I love. There was probably there was a lib at the desk who was like, I fully understand how you feel. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I thought that was so great. I love these people. I love libbed up people.
Yeah.
Like, they're so funny to me. I don't know. Because, like, to me, if I saw that Trump view, I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, brother. Like, I would crack open a beer and just, I would salute the Trump Tower.
It's real funny because, it's this this testament to the inconsequentialness of our time, to this hyper-normalized world that, this clown is the one who is sending us into hell. Not George W. Bush, not this sort of antichrist-like, religion mongerer, but rather this fucking clown. People thought George W. Bush was a clown at the time. No, you have what he was. At that time, that was the standard of clowning we had.
But oh wow, we never believed it would get this much sillier.
Yeah. Goddamn Clown World. That's that right wing account. This Clown World.
Oh my god, I hate that one too.
Fuck Clown World. All my homies hate Clown World. Oh my god. Well, I think we've talked a lot on here. Do you have any plugs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think pretty much. I basically just follow me on Twitter at Juniper. It's JUNLPER. I'm mortal enemies with the person who has the actual Juniper account because they haven't posted in like years. Yeah. So they're my mortal enemy. So follow me there. I'm on BlueSky, same if anyone's on there, and I do a podcast called Western Kabuki where we will either talk about guys that fascinate us, like our most recent type of guy that we talked about was MAGA rappers.
Oh,
so we delved into the MAGA rap scene. We
listened to Forgiato Blow.
We talked about Forgiato Blow. Really fun. Really fun. But then also we just do kind of like low-key episodes where we just kind of talk and shoot the shit about kind of current events and whatnot. So we have fun. So follow me there as well.
Hell yeah. Well, June, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've loved your posts. I love your podcast. I think everyone should listen to it. We will continue posting and finding unique people. Hopefully.
Well, I'll never log off. I'm
never going to log off. Elon can come to my house personally and shove a rod into my eye, and I will never log off.
We'll just find ourselves at a different posting location.
Yes. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but we'll meet again some sunny day.
We always will. Awesome. Thank you for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you.